What's up, guys? It's Zero here. Today we're talking about Fallout 5 and everything that we know about this highly anticipated continuation of this beloved franchise. Let's get into it. So guys, in an article that's coming to us from Heather Wald of Games Radar, Fallout 5, everything we know so far and what we hope to see. Fallout 5 is on its way, so here's everything you need to know about the upcoming Bethesda game. So first and foremost, guys, everything that you're going to be hearing here is going to be a lot of speculation, things that we want to see, things that we may not want to see in the continuation of Fallout. But I think that it's safe to say that the next Fallout game is more than likely going to be coming out after the new Elder Scrolls, which is still potentially years upon years away. At this point, maybe Fallout 5 is going to come out before Elder Scrolls, which would be an absolutely insane kind of turn of events. But nonetheless, Fallout 5 is officially happening, but it'll be quite some time before we see the next irradiated world come to life. Yes, while the big upcoming Bethesda game is official, Todd Howard has said that the next entry in the long-running RPG series will be coming after the long-awaited and highly anticipated release of Elder Scrolls 6, which is not expected to arrive anytime before 2026 at the least. While we're in for quite a wait, the Fallout TV show has certainly put a cheesy Vault Boy-style smile on our faces. In fact, we were even treated to a next-gen update for Fallout 4 following the release of the Amazon Prime series, which will certainly help tide us over for some time. And if you're curious, you can find out our thoughts in our Fallout TV show review. Look, the way I look at it, guys, is it sounds like more than likely Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the next game coming out of Bethesda. And then, of course, Fallout 5, it'll probably be all hands on deck once that game comes out. So we're looking at a number of years away. And obviously it's a very highly anticipated game, especially coming off of the heels of, Fallout 76 and all the issues that came with that launch of that title and things of that nature. They definitely need to knock out Fallout 5 out of the park. And really, even before that, they need to knock out Elder Scrolls completely out of the park before even getting to Fallout 5. But in terms of the release date speculation, guys, well, it's unlikely we'll see a Fallout 5 release date anytime soon, but with Fallout 5 confirmed, we can at least speculate its release window. Currently, all signs point towards a 2030 release at the very earliest. Right now, Bethesda is firmly set on the Elder Scrolls 6 as its next major port of call, while Eurogamer reported that we might also be getting an Oblivion remake this year. According to a supposed leak, it's unlikely that the work on Fallout 5 will begin until the Elder Scrolls work is wrapped, be that sequels or remakes. So I do agree with this. More than likely, guys, we're going to be seeing, Fallout 5 probably closer to 2030. It might even be past that at this point. I mean, look, Elder Scrolls 6 has taken so long for these guys to make. And, who knows? Elder Scrolls 6 might come out in 2030 at this point. It's taking a long time. I would hope that they're pretty far along in Elder Scrolls 6, and maybe they're going to be releasing some information later this year in 2025, or give us, a lot of information about it and gameplay reveals and things of that nature in 2026. But man, 2030 might be a release date for Elder Scrolls 6, which would mean that Fallout 5 is going to probably be like 3, 5, 7 years after that. With that in mind, during a 2024 interview with Variety, Todd Howard also told fans that it takes a good 5 years to make a new Fallout game. Games take a good 5-ish years, he explained, so we're in plans for future games in this series and nothing to talk about right now, but we're always planning. I think of it kind of like CD Projekt Red. So you have the main bulk of their team is working on The Witcher 4, and then they have a small team that's working on Cyberpunk Orion, or the sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. I think that very well might be going on here over at Bethesda, where they have, obviously, most of the team is working on Elder Scrolls 6, and then maybe there's a small team working on an Oblivion remake, a small team working on Fallout 5. It's hard to say, but I can kind of envision that maybe that's what they're doing over at Bethesda. It's really hard to tell, but if I were to guess, though, I would say that they've got multiple teams working on multiple things, but the main team, guys, or the main bulk of the team is working on Elder Scrolls 6. With that in mind, Fallout 5 is unlikely to come out before 2030 since Elder Scrolls is only aiming to be completed sometime in 2026. While that seems like a long way off, it will at least give us all the time to replay the best Fallout games in preparation for the new title. So in terms of platform speculation, guys, previous Fallout games have landed on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation consoles across the board, with Fallout 4 being treated to a standalone VR version for the HTC Vive, Windows Mixed Reality, and Valve Index. Whether or not this broad support will apply to Fallout 5 in the long term remains to be seen, but the new Fallout game should follow in the footsteps of its immediate forerunners, Starfield and The Elder Scrolls 6. This means we suspect that it'll first arrive on Game Pass, Xbox Series X, and PC. Now, that being said, guys, by the time that Fallout 5 comes out, there is a realistic possibility that the next generation consoles are out at that point. So the next Xbox Series is going to be out, more than likely. I know a lot of people are saying that, there's a lot of rumor speculation that Xbox is done making consoles and PlayStation's done making consoles. But the cash cows that are these consoles, guys, they are going to continue to pump these out, every, 10 years or every 7 to 10 years, really, realistically, in my personal opinion, is what I'm thinking, that they're going to be continued to release the next generation of consoles. So more than likely, Fallout 5 is going to be on the next generation of Xbox consoles, but we'll have to kind of wait and see. In terms of the development, guys, well, in late 2021, director and executive producer Todd Howard said Bethesda has a one-pager for Fallout 5, but it's still a while off. It wasn't much, but it was enough to set the rumor mill alight, with series fans speculating en masse about Fallout 5's potential setting, story, and gameplay features. In a conversation with IGN during E3 2022, Howard said, yes, Elder Scrolls 6 is in pre-production, and we're going to be doing Fallout 5 after that. So our slate's pretty full going forward for a while. We have some other projects that we look at from time to time as well. These games do take a while. I wish they came out faster. I really do. We're trying as hard as we can, but we want them to be as best as they can be for everybody. And I agree. I'm like, look, as long as it takes Bethesda to make this thing, a super solid title, I'm down with. Because I look at games like Fallout 76, I was not a fan at all of Fallout 76, and a number of their recent games, I really haven't been a big fan of. I liked Starfield, like elements of it, but overall, I didn't really like Starfield. And there's just, like I said, Bethesda's been very hit or miss over the years, as have been a lot of these, AAA game developer companies. But I do think that Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, they need to knock those out of the park, as I said earlier. One of the things that people want to see, guys, is the karma system return. Well, the karma system has been a mainstay feature in the Fallout series since Fallout 1, but it was one element that didn't make its way into Fallout 4. The karma system really makes you feel like your choices actually have an effect on the world around you. If you go about murdering everyone, you'll get yourself a nasty reputation, and people will view and treat you differently as a result. It helps to add a deeper level of immersion to the RPG aspect of the series, and makes you think twice about the choices you run with. Without karma, it felt like every choice you made in Fallout 4 only served to change the way your companions view you, which felt a little hollow in comparison to the best RPGs in the series. And honestly, I would be cool if they brought back the karma system. At the same time, if they didn't bring it back, I'd be okay with that as well. It really just depends on what they decide to make in terms of the package deal, that being Fallout 5. Are they going to have multiplayer? Are they going to have all these different elements to this thing? It's going to be interesting. But speaking of multiplayer and co-op, Fallout 76 does have a lot of things going for it, but the Fallout game series has always been a strong single-player offering. With so many multiplayer games finding their way onto the market, it's hard not to hope Fallout stays true to its roots. Since Howard has already said it will likely be single-player focused, we shouldn't have to worry too much, but it would be great to see co-op play introduced alongside single-player like Dark Souls 3. Now, I'm going to say this. I believe that even a game, like I mentioned, I didn't like Fallout 76, but I do think that multiplayer should play some form inside of the Fallout universe in one way, shape, or form. Same thing with co-op, and here's why. After you beat the single-player story, guys, I talk about this all the time, having a full package for any video game out there is really important because it brings people back to the experience over and over again. So when you're done playing the single-player story, you can jump into multiplayer, play with your friends. It keeps you on the game. or you can jump into co-op with your friends or other random people across the world. And, it keeps you coming back to the experience over and over again instead of beating the single player story a couple of times and then moving on to other games. So I think that having a multiplayer and co-op-esque mode within Fallout 5 would be a really smart decision. In terms of a building system, guys, well, building settlements in Fallout 4 was a great new feature that finally gave all that junk you find lying around a purpose. But it'd be nice to have this polished and refined so it's a little less clunky in places, although some of the best Fallout 4 settlements have overcome the quirks. Placing big sheets of metal into just the right spot with a controller could sometimes be a bit of an ordeal. While settlement building is a lot of fun, the mechanics and interface could use some fine-tuning to make it less awkward to control come Fallout 5. I agree. I think it was clunky for sure in certain aspects. I think it could certainly, there's things that they could improve on. I think they should absolutely bring it back. In terms of dialogue options, variety is the spice of life, as the saying goes, so we're all for more choice in the new Fallout game. As fun as the sarcastic option could be, the choice of just 4 options to reply with sometimes felt a little thin in Fallout 4, and while a similar amount of choice was offered in previous titles, it'd be good to see the next offer up an extra helping. Having more choice can't hurt, and it'll just add to the feeling that you're in control of how you want your character to be. I don't agree with that at all. I think like when you add too many dialogue options, it creates like too much complexity to like the story. I kind of like it where it's like there's different paths that your character can go down and different like life choices within the game, and it results in different things happening in the end. I feel like if you have too many choices, sometimes, guys, I feel that less is more in a lot of situations. And I think like with this, I think if you have, keep it the same amount of dialogue options, maybe doing more high level dialogue options in terms of like those 4 options of dialogue are more high level than what they've done in the past, but just adding more dialogue options, I don't really love that. I think it could create a lot of like negative effects to the rest of the story and things of that nature. So I'm good with like the 4 options and just make them more high level. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about that though in the comment section down below. As interesting as the Commonwealth was, we hope Fallout 5 will continue the series' trend of introducing us to a new setting. Having a new setting keeps everything feeling fresh and exciting, and it's always interesting to see a new location with Fallout's retro-futuristic flair. From Washington, D.C. in Fallout 3 to New Vegas and Fallout New Vegas, right up to Boston in Fallout 4, the thought of being able to explore what a new location has to offer makes the thought of the next Fallout all the more enticing. I agree. I also would love to see, guys, like, maybe in this new Fallout 5, like you can go to all of these other locations that we've already kind of explored in the past, like Washington, D.C., New Vegas, Boston, and then you have like, new areas as well, right? I think that one of the things that Fallout will really help this franchise moving forward is having some old environments that feel familiar, and then, new environments that we have to completely dive into and explore. And, having new characters, maybe even older characters, new weapons, new enemies, like all the different, like the crafting system, all these different things that go into Fallout. You have things where there's similarities, but also differences. And so I would be cool with really wherever they decide to go. But I would love to go back to New Vegas. I would like to just like explore that again and maybe have that as part of the Fallout story, in the Fallout 5 story as a whole. I think that would be really interesting, and then add some new areas. I think it could be something really special, guys. But I'm excited to see what they do with Fallout 5, guys. I'm not as big of a Fallout 5 as, probably a lot of people out there, but I respect it for what it is and just all the awards it's won and all of those things. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What are some things that you want to see out of Fallout 5, and when do you think this game's going to be releasing to the world? Let me know what you guys think, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Fallout 5 content and videos, keep it right here.